Okay, good morning, PSWs and friends across Ontario and Canada, and welcome to PSW Podcast. My name is Miranda Domanovic. I'm the CEO of the Ontario PSW Association and host of PSW Podcast. And I'm joined yet again with my co-host, Ian De Silva, who is the Chief Operating Officer for both the OPSWA and the CANSWA. And we are here today to talk to you guys about fraudulent certificates in the PSW world and how this has become a real constant conversation over the last few weeks, Ian.
Absolutely. Few weeks, I'm even going to go, but I think we both know it's been a few years, but we're seeing a lot of it resurface now, especially. Also, fraudulent certificates and inadequate training.
Yes.
That's another side of it. So let's talk about fraudulent certificates first. Where do you want to start?
Well, I think we got to start that this has always been a thing. We've seen fraudulent certificates at the association
Yep.
for over 15 years, where, it's affected a lot of innocent people that, they think they're taking a course that is recognized when in actuality it is not. And they're out thousands of dollars when they pay these so-called schools in order to do these courses. And then they breach out into the PSW world and they suddenly realize that their certificate is null and void. But then you also have the ones that have such convincing, they purposely buy these certificates. And they're such a convincing certificate that employers don't do their due diligence, or they do. And somehow these people fall through the cracks. And they wind up working in our system, Ontario Health System, as PSWs. So, it's definitely an issue.
It's a huge issue. And the sophistication, I think it ties into the sophistication of the forgeries that we're seeing and how convincing they can be made to look. Any search online can show that there's at least, I think, a dozen different companies in Ontario that can print out novelty degrees, novelty certificates. I mean, you could become a astrophysicist by the end of today if you have a right amount of money to buy a certificate for it. So there is a lot of exposure to this, and we are, and I think a lot of the times, and the reason why we have so much problems in the frontline healthcare is recruiters simply don't know. They're taking at face value, and
Yeah.
they have, and that's what it is. So
Well, exactly too, right? Because you also have a lot of different schools that offer the PSW program. So
yep.
you have the typical community colleges that offer the program, but then you have like a host, and I mean a host of career colleges that
Yes.
offer the PSW program, and not all of them are offering a program that's even recognizable.
No.
And then onto your next point, you said, and now what we're seeing are PSWs being hired going out into the field, or PSWs being hired going out into the field, and they don't know what they're doing.
They don't.
They don't even know how to do basic personal care.
No, and I think it's a combination of you seeing a lot of this from the accelerated programs that people came through. We're seeing a lot of the impact of the COVID panic when we were trying desperately to create as many PSWs. Well, we have a lot of them, but now the COVID's gone. And yeah, a lot of schools took advantage of us, and we call them here at the Ops Wing Cancel. They're very predatory colleges. So these are predatory institutions that know what they're doing. They know that the population that they're targeting is, in many cases, new to Canada. English is a second language. They are people sometimes from your home country that will convince you that the only way you're going to succeed is if you will do it through their program, and everything is guaranteed by the time that check is cashed. Forget about you. It is a
True. I mean,
it's a tale of
we spoke about the National Association of Certified Caregivers, NACC, and it's not the National Association of Career Colleges, which is
exactly.
actually the legitimate organization.
Yeah.
And they are taking full advantage of a lot of new immigrants into Canada. Doing this online PSW program that is not recognized anywhere in Canada,
No.
and they're
And the
paying
fact
$1,700 a pop.
it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for nothing, for absolutely nothing. And that's the thing. And we also see things from and not a commenting on the institution and what they're trying to do. But if you went to Allison School, the fine education, but it's not actually certifying you or certifiable to be a PSW. So
Yeah.
so much confusion right now about where the good education is. who they should and should not be going to. And
I get asked all the time, Ian, when I'm on TikTok. I constantly get asked on our lives,
yeah,
where should I go to school? What's a good school for PSW? And in the new year, OBSWA will have that list on our website. But it's one of those situations where it's there is a standard for the PSW curriculum, but not everywhere you go is going to give you that high standard that you want. And so PSWs are different.
yeah,
Even if it's not fraudulent, their training is still different from community college to career college to board of education.
yeah, it is. It
Yeah,
varies. And
yeah.
even within programs within the same body, it can vary. So it's a real quagmire of different types of programs all trying to interlace to create a standardized workflow. And we're really struggling to do that. And I think that's why this fraudulent certificate issue it remains such a big deal. Now, we talked last week and the week prior about the 7 in Ottawa and someone saying they were hired, they weren't, whatever. The fact is that this is an ongoing problem and that anyone can get a fake certificate and walk into long-term care. And as long as they can convince the manager or they're hiring, which is becoming easier to do, no comment on the recruiters in long-term care or hospitals or retirement homes or whomever. It is extremely difficult now to understand what is a real certificate, what is a fake certificate. We're trying to work. We started doing some work to protect these credentials, but it's a long way to go still. And that's why we're encouraging people make sure you go to the correct school. And if you're hiring a PSW, not to sell the OPSWA, but to sell the OPSWA, you need to make sure this person ideally is a member of the association. This is why we're so adamant that PSWs join, is so that we can separate those who have the real education from those who don't. And what is the impact of not having this education, Miranda? Jeez.
Well, it's even last week here at the association, Nicole had a fake certificate for a membership that came through, and lucky that we have such a vast knowledge on when certain programs are running by certain organizations and when they weren't. And this person claimed to have graduated in a time, had done this course that existed in 2016, but yet they graduated last month. And we knew right then and there it was a false certificate
Yeah.
because that's not real. And by them not having this training and by employers not having this I guess knowledge base, not all of them, but some, and I'm not faulting them either, Ian. But they're hiring these individuals. What we then deal with is we deal with people that don't literally have no training to be a PSW. And it takes me back to that whole conversation we've had many times before, where we talk about that everyone thinks the PSW job is so easy. They think that anybody can do this job. You can't. It is not an easy job. It is
Not
one of
an
the
easy
most
job.
difficult jobs and most dangerous jobs in healthcare. And people don't realize that because it's all that, feel good, sunshine, Care Bears, like you sit down, you have a cup of tea with Mrs. Smith and everything's great. No, you're wrangling Mr. Smith who has dementia, who is covered in feces up to his neck, and you've got to get him cleaned up. And you have
Yeah.
to deal with behaviors, you have to deal with physical aggression, you have to deal with, your coworkers and make sure you're working properly. And when you have someone that's not trained as a PSW, then you're dealing with, really bad outcomes, is what we're hearing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, yeah, because you're dealing with people who have no idea. So what happens is that person with no training, you're dealing in a critical situation, rather than being a help, becomes a liability in that situation. Because now that people have to help train that person, so now they're supporting that individual as well.
Just
It,
not fraudulent. Can we just say not just fraudulent certificates, so Ian? We're hearing this about a lot of the current graduates that are coming out of the PSW program.
yeah,
Which,
I don't know
which,
why.
which I don't know why. Which is it's. I mean, we just had a meeting prior to this for everyone to know with a member of our association that has a home care company, and God bless her, she's doing her best. But the PSWs that she's getting and that she's hiring are they don't even know the basics of professionalism, the basics of you don't give your personal cell phone number out to your clients.
Not give your search. Do not do that. That is a bad
You
thing.
are a professional. You are not their best friend. You're not a member of their family. Sometimes it might feel like it, but you are not. You are a professional. And also not knowing how to do proper pericare, not knowing how to do a two-person pivot transfer. or a one person pivot. Like, what the heck? Like, I'm really, we've discussed this over and over again. And for some odd reason, our conversations every week, Ian, go back to this because it's a frustrating situation, especially when myself being a 20-year PSW this coming June, I went through the PSW program. I was actually looking through my old books last night because my daughter just got accepted at Fanshawe for the PSW starting next year. And yeah, and so, I thought, some light reading for Becca as she, takes on the PSW next year.
Yeah.
But I was reading through the stuff and I was like, I don't think they touch on half of the stuff that we did back in 2006. And that's concerning. That's really concerning. They've condensed the course so much. Like when I was on TikTok Live a few weeks ago, do you remember this? When I was talking about how some students didn't know what MRSA is, what VRE is, what C. difficile is. And I had someone say on there, I didn't know. I had no idea what C. diff was or VRE or MRE or MRSA until I actually got into a long-term care home and my coworker said we have a C. diff outbreak. And she said, what the hell is C. diff?
Yeah.
What?
So yeah, okay. So I mean, it brings you up to that old saying: Ontario's healthcare is only as strong as its weakest link. Well, there's lots
Right
of weak
now.
links in it. Our chainmail across Ontario is well-meaning but not strong.
No. And then you have these veteran PSWs that are, doing their damnedest to keep the proper care going. And that is an expectation put on them that
Well,
is not fair.
I mean, especially the veteran PSWs. Those people have been there for a number of years, who've gone through the COVID or came in during COVID. Even those individuals went through the more rigorous training. At least it appears they went through more rigorous training, even though the programs are the same. But again,
Bizarre.
but what we're seeing there is you're seeing that those PSWs that are veterans are really taking it upon themselves to explain, justify, and communicate to the families and individuals all the faults that exist in the system. So we have that one PSW veteran who knows what's going on, suddenly seeing everything that's going on and having to somehow justify these policy decisions to the families.
So again, why is it up to the PSW to carry that burden? It
It
should
just
not be up to the PSW
no,
to carry that burden. It is the responsibility of those that are making those policies and accepting
absolutely.
these lax training.
Well, no, there needs to be better connection. So when people
Hmm.
have a complaint about, for example, an institutional care setting, that they're directed immediately to the person responsible. There needs to be a direct conduit of those complaints. I know we have an ombudsman in Ontario, but I mean, the time it takes for those to respond, and some of these things can be rather something we'll have to work on in the new year is improving that conduit directly to those who can make the changes.
Yeah, I totally agree because I mean what I hear from our PSWs as you do too, Ian, because we do actually talk to our membership and PSWs on the daily, guys.
Oh yeah.
Is they're exhausted, and
Oh yeah.
I'm afraid that we're going to lose these superstars that have been holding down the fort for the last long time
Oh yeah.
and know all the tips and tricks and trades, that you need to know as a PSW, and we're going to lose them.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
what are we going to get? What are we gonna be left with? That's what scares me. That's what keeps me up at night because I think to myself, now it's going to be interesting watching my daughter go through the PSW program next year because I am going to be paying very close attention to what she is being taught. No diss on Fanshawe. Fanshawe is a fantastic school.
No, but it'll be eye-opening and it'll be what is happening. Is it something about the current students? Are they distracted? Is there some learning barrier? We don't
Well,
know.
let's talk about cell phone. So let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, let's have a cell
This
phone.
like cell phones and PSWs. That's another thing we're hearing nonstop about are these PSWs are on their dang cell phones 24/7. That
Yeah.
is unacceptable.
It's unacceptable. We've heard stories of in retirement facilities or community living facilities where PSWs are in the lobbies of those facilities on their cell phones. And when questioned, they're said that my person that I'm caring for is upstairs in another part of the building asleep. I'm here until because I only have 40 minutes left of my shift, so there's no point in me going back upstairs. That is so not what your job is.
No,
You
that's not
stay
what
in the
your job
department.
is.
So I mean, the PSWs that are sitting around, and you know who you are. Okay, I get it. You're bored. You want to get home. I get it. Okay, this may not be the right position for you.
Oh,
Okay, just
no,
going to say that
no,
right now. You're not a healthcare worker. You really shouldn't be pursuing a career in healthcare. Might sound harsh. Be honest with yourself, though. If you're not interested in performing, even being with your client, you're not someone who's going to be a good provider long term. I wouldn't advise going into nursing. I would look
no,
at doing something more administrative where you're not in direct contact. So
exactly. Yeah.
just my little beef about that. I don't like it.
No, you know what, and I'm going to say it too. You have a duty. You are there as a PSW to care for that client. That client should be the center of your damn world while you are on that shift.
It's your
There's
professional
nothing
sport.
more important short of a family emergency than that client. Like, remember that story too, and I know I've said it here before on PSW podcast about the PSW. There was two of them that they showed up to a building,
Oh yes, yeah,
and the
yes.
power was out in the building, so the elevator wasn't working, and this man had a catheter, but he had a condom catheter, and their client, it was their client, and he asked them to go up to the apartment to get a new condom catheter, and they would not go up the stairs and they made every excuse in the book, even so far as to offer to call 911 to get a
Yeah.
firefighter or a paramedic to go up the stairs instead. And when questioned, because they thought they were in the right, and that's where they were dumb,
We're
they
not in
thought
the
they
right.
were in the right and they came to the association. And they asked us and they said, well, this isn't fair. No, no, no. You're in the wrong. Like I said, when you are on that shift, those clients, those residents, those patients are to be the core focus of you for that time.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
this,
care if you have a boyfriend Snapchatting you. I don't care if your friend just got broken up with her girlfriend. I don't care.
no, neither does the family. That's the family does not care. The person
No.
who is in the bed looking for help, they don't care. It's not their job to care. They're needing your help. So, yeah, I think this is it. And this
And
idea that
They are making every other PSW who truly cares look like crap.
they are.
You're giving us a bad name. And so, I'm calling them all out because if you don't want to be in this job because you care about the people that you are caring for, that you genuinely want to make a difference in their lives, and that you genuinely have a great feeling about caring for these people, but instead you want to sit there and whine and complain about the client or sit out in a lobby on your cell phone, then do us all a favor and get
And
the
no,
hell out of this profession. Because you know what? We don't need you. We got lots of PSWs right now that actually want to work.
it's true. We do.
Sorry, went off a little bit, but I'm really
No,
sick
but
and
it's a
tired of
very
these
because it's
people.
because we hear this all the time, and at the end of the day, we know that there are people in care that need help that are not getting it um, because people try to take advantage of what they perceive to be their rights. So with regards to those people not wanting to go up the staircase, it was viewed as they had the rights under the ESA because there was a danger element. There is no danger element to going up
No,
the
no, she
staircase.
said she couldn't go up the stairs because she had period cramps.
Well, regardless of the reason, okay? I mean, at the end of the day, unless there's a physiological doctor's note that says you're not able to climb the stairs or you're not fit for duty, that's the question. Are you or are you not fit for duty? You can get up the staircase. When I worked in an office and our elevators went out, we had to walk up 8 flights of stairs. So I don't get this comment that somehow I don't get it. Now there are exceptions. Would we make someone walk up 100 flights of stairs? It might be a bit of an issue, but there are limits. And at the end of the day, I think there is that expectation that you really do play a very important role. And if you don't acknowledge that, then it makes the whole system weaker. Yeah, it's up to
You're
everyone.
so right. And let me just point out something too that just crossed my mind when you were talking, Ian. It is not, you guys have to remember that we are a part of the healthcare team. We are not these little, people on the side that don't have these responsibilities and aren't a valued part of the healthcare team. So when you're saying to your client, I'll call 911 and I will I'll bring in the firefighters and I'll bring in the paramedics to help you. Our job is to assist those people. We're there to work with them. We're
Yeah,
not there to call them from a vital call, probably, to come and walk up 10 flights of stairs in order to get a condom catheter. You as a PSW have the training or should have the training in order to properly care for those in your care.
Well,
And
there's yes, yes.
it
And I don't.
is.
These are, but again, these aren't members of the association, so we don't have any ability to ethically
No, so
enforce.
that's why I'm putting them on blast because it's like,
Well, no,
you
and
know,
that's the thing. I mean, then this is one of the things that we are that is a concern because they're like this minority makes everyone look just so it just damages the whole idea of what we're trying to do as healthcare providers. And at the end of the day, what do the patients and those that rely on our care deserve?
well, someone
It's not a
just said
comment on.
On TikTok, someone just said address burnout. Burnout's the issue. Burnout is a
Burnout.
reason
This
until
is
it becomes an excuse.
but burnout. Okay, but I think that the person has a point there. Burnout is this week makes burnout worse. This behaviors, okay, burnout, okay, everyone gets burnout. But getting exhausted at work, that's normal, but that's not an excuse not to do your job. You're still being remunerated. Now, one of the things about identifying burnout as a professional PSW is you need to identify when you're burned out, find out what you can do. Does your company have EAP? You don't just stop working. You don't just say, I'm phoning it in now. I mean, you can, but then
Not
everyone
right
else around
away.
you is going to have amplified burnout because you're not pulling your weight. So
Yeah.
burnout is, I get it. It's a very valid psychological issue. We have every right to acknowledge it. It is not an excuse for not doing things. Okay, it is
No,
not.
it's very true. And burnout is real. I mean,
Oh,
we
totally
all
real.
really experienced it through COVID. PSWs experience it when working because you guys do have one of the hardest jobs in healthcare and you have really heavy resident, client, and patient loads. And we completely emphasize with that and understand that. But like Ian just said, burnout is not a reason to stop performing your job. If you can't do your job, then you need to go out on stress leave. Then you need to find a different career, or you need to, like Ian said, tie into your employer's EAP if you have one. But there's
So
no reason to stand there and say, "Well, I'm so burnt out, I can't help."
no, there isn't. And I think what we really want to do is make sure we understand. Now let's talk a little bit about the causes of this.
Yes.
Employers, okay, this could tie in a lot into the fraudulent certificates. Are these employers, and I'm asking a rhetorical question, are we seeing a marked increase in this because the educational quality is getting worse? Or is this because there's so many sophisticated fraudulent certificates that employers are simply at the mercy of the system? That so they think they're getting the right PSW, but they end up with this person that doesn't want to go upstairs, doesn't want to do anything. I don't know, Miranda. I think that's something that ties into the whole
I
concept.
think it's both.
It could be both. Yeah,
I think it's both. I think again, it's going back to that whole title protection that we talked about last week, where the
exactly.
PSWs need to
Yes.
be, our titles need to be protected and respected and recognized. And it goes back to as well as it's important to be a part of your community of PSW. So it's important to be a member of OPSWA. It's also important to register with the HESCAPOA, the new registry for PSWs here in Ontario. That's where the fraudulent certificates you guys are going to start seeing decline because the more members we have and the more registrants HESCAPOA has, then it's going to start to decline because it's going to be hard to fraud that system. Now, when it comes to the training of PSWs, I think that's something that the association is going to embark on in 2026, probably, where we sit down with the minister of you know, uh, colleges and universities and have a very serious conversation about the quality of the PSW program. Like you said, I think everyone really responded. Like it was a panic response in COVID because we
Oh yeah.
needed an army of PSWs and we did not have an army of PSWs. And so suddenly the province and everyone just went, we just need them now. And they were, throwing them out there in 4 or 5 months, in order to to provide that care that we so desperately needed. But now what we're seeing are those same programs are still operating. Like when I did the PSW program, Ian, it was 1 year college. I was literally 6 days a week. Like it was a heavy, heavy program. And I did university, and this was heavier than my university.
Yeah, I would believe that.
Yeah, it
It's
was a
totally
very
different.
heavy course. You have a lot to learn in a short amount of time, right? And now what I'm seeing are PSWs are, and it's great they can take it while they're working. It's great that these things are happening, but we're not getting that same level of training, of even theory, even hands-on. I
Right.
mean, there's schools that are just showing videos of mechanical lift transfers. Like, pardon? Like, this has got to be hands-on. So,
In very specific situations, is that okay?
yeah,
If you're
very
remote
specific.
communities and it is simply ridiculously cost prohibitive for you training, you can rely on that. GTA, Southern Ontario, anyone south of Sault Ste. Marie, there's no
No,
excuse.
there's no excuse.
Sorry, there
No,
isn't.
I would
Um,
be so scared to put someone in a Hoyer lift if I hadn't have practiced it when I was in school.
I've never done it. I would never do it. I'm
No.
not a PSW, so I mean, if someone said, "Ian, could you use a Hoyer lift?" I would be laughing. Like, no, I don't have the training. I don't. I don't,
No,
and I'm not sure
no.
to do it either. So no, there's no way. So yeah, it ties back into that. Really trying to get this profession, and again, we're a little upset today because of because we've been seeing a lot of it of late of this degrading of the quality of care. But we are also equally thankful to the
Yeah.
enormous majority of PSWs out there who are not like this. So let's give them a positive shout out.
Oh, absolutely. You know, the majority of PSWs are these guys and girls. They're just, I mean, I have no words.
No, they're amazing.
Their dedication and their compassion and their loyalty to Ontario's most vulnerable is awe-inspiring in a lot of cases, where they step into the void where nobody else wants to step. And, you know, I get goosebumps talking about that because one thing we do here at the association, not just the negative, is the positive impact that PSWs are making and make continue to make every single day on Ontarians. And, you know, when we do events and we're out and about, I mean, I've been stopped just going into shoppers by families that, you know, had a PSW and they just had to express how much they absolutely love that PSW and how much of a difference they made for their loved ones at a very difficult time in their family's life. And so we talk about a lot of negative stuff here on PSW podcast because we have to out the negative because nobody wants to talk about it. And it's important that the public and PSWs know that we know and that we're outing that negativity in order to rectify it, really, at the end of the day. But PSW in general, like when I have conversations with a lot of them and I talk to a lot of them, they are honestly my favorite people. And they give their all because they truly care. And
Absolutely.
so that's our point on this PSW podcast is yeah, we talk about a lot of negative, but our job at the OPSWA is to stand in the void between you guys and the people that are trying to destroy you. That is our job.
And those
And
are your fake schools and your employers that will hire anyone off the street and say they're offering. There's a lot of bad players out there.
a lot of bad
There's a
players
lot of
and
bad players.
we
So
stand in that void. So and you know what? And we are honored to do so for all PSWs. So,
very
you know,
much.
thank you for allowing us to do that and being your voice when you guys need us.
And give a
So
I wanted we can do I'd like to do a shout out because I promised Judith Lee just started a home care company a couple weeks ago. So Judith, we will be posting more about that shortly. I want to give a shout out to you for sure.
fantastic. And
And a
also
shout out,
too, a
go
shout
ahead.
out to who else? Who
I
else?
want
You
to
got
shout out
another one?
to a couple people. Our endless supporter, Mr. Chris Horde, who has an enormous following on TikTok. Everyone he's a super guy. We had the pleasure of meeting him in Thunder Bay a few years back. A great PSW. And Mojen, always a pleasure. Always keep up your support. Hope everything's going good. Who do you want to shout out to today?
Well, what I'm going to say is we are actually in the midst of doing our 24-day giveaway, Christmas giveaway.
Right.
The Ops was giving away over $1,000 worth of gifts to randomly picked OPSWA members. And we're doing this every single day on TikTok. So my job has been, I almost forgot yesterday, and I'll be honest, because I had appointments and stuff, but I got reminded by Ian that I needed to go on TikTok and give the stuff away. But every single day we're giving away something else, but we're also giving away stuff to people that pop into our lives on TikTok. So, you know, you guys can find us on TikTok. If you go to our link tree here, that's on the page on Facebook, you'll find our TikTok there. We hope you guys come out. It's a really hit and miss when I go live because it's when I got a moment. And it's normally later in the day that I go live. I never do it in the mornings because no one's ever around in the mornings. But
If they miss it though, then we do notify the winners, right?
absolutely.
Okay.
Well, the winners actually just receive a package. So they get a
Oh,
wonderful written note from me, and they get a package, and they get their Christmas present surprise in the mail.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of neat.
Well done. Okay. So
Yes,
those, so just an FYI, any prizes awarded, I think after the 17th, I've heard you can't, it won't come before Christmas. So just
it
FYI.
won't come before Christmas, unfortunately,
But you'll
but
get it after.
oh
So
yeah, but it'll be a nice little present just for you afterwards. But I mean, we're giving everything away from like full scrub sets to gift cards to, so much slag, hoodies, so much. Oh my God, the sky's the limit what we're giving away. And I'm so happy to be that PSW Santa with my elf Becca, who's always there with me,
Side.
who's actually here right now. So make sure that you guys stay tuned in for that. We're going to be having a lot of really great conversations. Next Friday, I want to share with everyone, we
Yes.
actually have a special guest coming on next Friday. This has been something that you guys have been demanding of the association, so we made it happen. I'm actually going to have a very frank and honest and transparent conversation with Trevor Lee, who is the CEO of the HESCAPOA, which is the registry for PSWs here in Ontario. We are going to bust all the myths that you guys are hearing, and you guys are going to
Yes.
hear it right from the source, the truth about what is happening with this registry. So make sure you guys tune in next Friday at 11 a.m. when I will have Trevor on, and we will talk away and hopefully answer all of your questions. But it won't be the last time that he's on. So don't be concerned about that. We will have him on again in January. But yeah, make sure you join us next Friday for that. Join
And
us on
Miranda, I will,
TikTok.
Trevor's taking my place. I will not be on.
Yes,
So
Trevor is
yeah,
taking
I
Ian's
won't be on.
place. It will
Just
just be me
Miranda
and
and
Trevor
Trevor.
next Friday.
Yes.
So, yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Remember, if you're not a member, you can always check it out at www.opswa.ca. If you're not an OPSWA member, you're not protected. So make sure you get on that. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great weekend,
Right.
PSW.
And so